Hi, this is Glenn Mazzari, and you're watching EVH Gear discussion with Eric Broadbent.
Hello, welcome to another edition of EVH Gear Discussion. My name is Eric Broadbent Jr., and today's episode is brought to you in part by our sponsors, the Van Halen News Desk and the VanHalenStore.com. And in today's episode, we're going to be talking about my new transparent purple Wolfgang Standard guitar. At first look, you can see that there's two humbucker pickups and also a black chrome Floyd Rose tremolo system. I'll let my dad take it from here, and he'll tell you all the details about this fine guitar.
Welcome, everybody, and thank you, little Eric, for that nice little intro. And thank you for letting me borrow your guitar this evening for this video. Everyone, I'm joined by my good friend Josh Smith. Josh, thanks for joining me this evening and talking some EVH guitar.
Hey, no problem, Eric.
Josh and I happen to be proud owners. Well, my son is the proud owner, but I'm going to kind of steal this guitar from him, of the new EVH Gear Wolfgang Standard guitar. And Josh and I have had a couple conversations about this guitar on and off camera about how good these guitars are for such an affordable price. And we tried to find faults with these guitars. You remember that conversation, Josh, how we were trying to pick these things apart?
Well, I can't really find anything. The only thing I ever do with a guitar when I get it is usually put a strap lock on it. And that's the only, it's not a major complaint. I mean, it's very minor. Other than that, the only thing, Eric, that I feel that I've kind of found on it, I don't know if we can get a good audio of it, is sometimes the pot, because of the plastic in it we talked about, it kind of sounds a little scratchy, but I think after a week or two of playing it and turning it up and down, it's going to be gone.
Fantastic. And by scratchy too, just so I know the answer to this, but our audience doesn't, by scratchy, you don't mean through the amplifier, you just mean audibly, like sitting on, like acoustically.
Yes. Basically, to my understanding, the Burns knobs are like a plastic, so when it turns, it kind of rubs that plastic. It just hasn't worn yet. Am I wrong on that? Do you know?
Well, these ones I don't believe are the Burns pots in this model. They're the standard pots. But I do think there could be, I still haven't pulled the back off on these ones yet. Some of our other guitar tech buddies might be able to comment down below and let us know, or let us know on Facebook. But I believe there could be some plastic bushings in there or something as well too that could lead to that scratchiness that you're talking about. But it's probably just a wear and tear thing. Once you play it for a week or a month, I'm sure that's going to be by the wayside.
Sure.
Yeah, I was talking to my artist rep this evening, just moments before we went on camera. I'm just going to pull up the text message because even though I'm an EVH endorsed artist, I don't have all the answers. And like I always tell people, if I don't have the answers, I will ask and get you the answers. And so that's exactly what I did tonight. I just texted them and asked, I said, hey, I know it's after hours, doing a live video in 30 minutes. Just need a fact check. The Wolfgang Standards, like the purple one that you sent me, is that a veneer under the transparent top? And he says, hey, AB, yes, veneer quilt top on a basswood, veneer quilt maple top on a basswood body. It's strictly cosmetic and it's not too much of a tonal aspect. It's your classic EVH sound, and it's a taped off binding on the side as well too. So there it is. It's like a veneer, but I tell you, it's one of the nicest looking veneers. And you got a real nice one too. I'll let you talk so you can see it.
Sure. You can see that binding there Eric was talking about on the side. It's just the wood, they taped it off instead of putting a piece of plastic around it. I remember a friend of mine, Fred Koalo, he loved the look of that kind of a binding as opposed to plastic. But I haven't even gotten to show mine off yet. Let me show the audience. I got the blue color. I was eyeballing Eric's purple. And the two colors that I really wanted was either purple or blue. And I went down to Flory's Music, the local shop here in my area. I tried out a red one. And Tony Flory said, what do you think? And I said, well, if you had the blue or the purple burst, I definitely would buy it. And he's like, well, we got the blue burst at our other store. He brought it down and I ended up buying it.
Fantastic.
And I've got, as you can see, I've got other guitars. I've got a Kramer, I've got a Fender, I've got an LTD. And this one, the past, it's been almost a week now. I've been picking this one up the most. It's just fun to play.
It's funny that you mentioned that too, because you can't see all my guitars back here too, but I've got some US Wolfgangs. I've got from EVH Gear brand. I've got them from PV. I've got some PRSs. I've got the Stripe series over here. And it's really funny too, because this guitar I could buy 3 of these for the price of some of those other guitars. And I play this one a lot. It's just a nice pick up and go guitar. I find it inspirational. I mean, it's just funny. Like, it shouldn't perform the way that it does. I mean, I should say, okay, that was fun, but I got to play a real guitar now, and I don't get that feeling playing this guitar.
Well, it's funny you brought that up, because we'd had a discussion on a Facebook page earlier this week.
Yes.
And some of the people were putting it down because it comes from Indonesia, and I was like, I'm sorry. I think this thing plays just as well as a Mexican, or probably even an American.
Mm-hmm.
I shouldn't even be apologizing. I just think that, if you're a guy like me, that I'm on a budget, I want Van Halen stuff at times, you can't go wrong with this model.
No, you can't.
And for that matter, if you want to make some upgrades down the road, it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg.
That's right. I think we've been taught this way. It's like, where people market us very, very well, or market to us, or, preach to us. And we've been kind of led to believe that the American product is the best when it comes to musical instruments. In a lot of cases, that's true. The Mexicans are decent. And then when you get overseas, the Japanese product is a good product. When they were making the specials over there in Japan for a while, phenomenal guitar as well. And then a lot of the musical instrument manufacturers will make guitars over there. I know PRS has them from Korea and Indonesia and things like that. Everybody does, because it's a more affordable manufacturing. But we're trained to think the stereotypical that most of those instruments are subpar. Some are, some brands. Everybody has a bad product somewhere in the mix. I haven't found one yet with EVH Gear, but we've been trained to think that Indonesia is a bad manufacturing plant. And unless you and I are just got magical gems, I mean, I think we're going to see some magic come from over there, and it's affordable now too for everyone. Whether it's us, like the adults wanting a 4th or 5th guitar, or a kid getting their first real guitar, this is the line to get into.
A couple years back, there was a company that I would buy from, and one of the persons there had struck a deal with this company to make some one-off guitars that he could put his brand on. They were doing work, last I remember, in Indonesia, as well as I think it was China.
Okay.
And they were pumping out quality guitars. Can I go ahead and say what company it is? Would you?
Yeah, I can't say that being a problem. Go ahead.
Washburn actually was doing some overseas stuff, and Eric McKenna of Boogie Street Guitars.
I built his website.
Yeah, he had done a run of some exclusive Evil Twin guitars when Nick Catnese was a Washburn endorsee. And I'm, for what I could tell, that guitar, even though it had a few differences from the USA model, you couldn't beat it. It had Grover tuners, it had EMG pickups. It may not have had the super high 4A flame top on it, but it had a beautiful quill and ebony fretboard. And for about $1,000, you were. I
remember seeing that guitar. That was the kind of the offshoot of the Idol. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Nice guitar. Because I built the website, I remember putting all those pictures on there. That was pretty cool.
Okay, so we're familiar with that, but yeah, and I remember Eric telling me specifically, that whole illusion of the American product is superior to everything else. To a point, that's true. I mean, I think when you have like a luthier make you a particular guitar, be it Gibson or a Washburn or a Jackson,
PRS,
you're going to get what you pay for. I would at least hope.
Mm-hmm.
But again, going back to a guy like me that's on a budget, and I'm trying to get out of debt, and
mm-hmm.
I have fun. I argue, anybody try to put this down. I mean, it's a basswood guitar. Okay, so it's got a veneer, but it's still really cool looking. Just, it's still got waves to it.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't have the original Floyd Rose. So what? This thing, I've tuned it once in the week that I've had it. And that was only because I had to put it in a gig bag to take it to a guitar lesson. I tuned it up and it rocked.
It's perfect. And my boy's not throwing out of tune. He's a 10-year-old, and I mean, if anyone's going to throw this thing out of tune, it's going to be a kid when they don't know how to use the bar properly and things like that. And anytime I go to play it, it's in tune. I expect to have to tune it, and I don't.
I think that they've done a great job as far as making a product. In fact, like you said earlier, you could buy 2 of these for the price of 1. The consideration of maybe down the road picking up another one with just, the stop tail on it would be kind of fun.
Yeah, there's all kinds of options. I mean, the sky's the limit. And we, with our good friend Adam Reaver at fu-tone.com, we've done a video with Adam before too. Adam's got some great add-on candy for these things. I mean, whether they're the brass blocks, the big blocks, titanium, titanium everything. You can upgrade these things for the titanium stuff gets expensive, but it's still affordable. But I mean, there's all kinds of add-ons you can put on these guitars for little money, and you're still under the price of a good US guitar, and it'll play just as good.
What do you think for the guy on the budget would be the best FU upgrades for this guitar? I mean,
one of their blocks, I think the brass block, I'd have to double check the retail price on there. I don't know Adam's full retail, but the brass block, I'd also recommend some of the stainless steel. I don't have them on this guitar yet, but I have them on my other ones over there. The stainless steel locking nut screws, because the metal on these can be soft, or
Right.
a lot of kids will go wrong with these guitars. They'll take the 3mm Allen wrench and they'll just crank the snot out of it, and it's a softer metal. It'll strip both the nut, and it'll strip your wrench as well too. You'll be going through wrenches. Once you strip your wrench, you're going to continually strip this. So I would recommend that. I'd also recommend putting in the titanium or the stainless steel string lock blocks, because these graphite ones over time can tend to get a bit of a crimp in them, or a divot, and the string may slip. So that's an upgrade. It's very affordable. He's got the kill switches. I mean, it'd be really cool to pop a kill switch on one of these. It's like the Sears catalog. I'm not sure if you have them down in the States. Here, as a kid growing up, we get the Sears catalog and we'd circle all the toys we want. Well, that's what his website's like. Go through and circle what you want and tell him what you've got. And he's not just one of these shops that you order stuff from and it's like order by closing your eyes and picking. He'll say, okay, you know what? Maybe that won't work for your guitar. You might like this. He'll custom, put something together for you that'll be accommodating to your particular instrument.
I've been to his website many a times. He had a sale. I think one of the most innovative things, it's one of those, gee, why didn't they think of it sooner, was when he's got the Allen wrench on the bottom of your trem arm.
Yes.
I recommend if there's one upgrade you could do yourself a favor of having, it would be just that trem arm, because it's so handy.
You've always got a wrench.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, I don't particularly have one of those, and the only thing I would recommend as caution to people I do encourage people to buy those. Don't get me wrong, and please send Adam some business. However, with that wrench, you've got now some extra torque because of the length of the bar. It's like when you put a wrench on your lug nuts of your car when you're changing a flat tire, you've got a lot of torque, right?
Right.
You can get extra torque with that wrench. So if you know your own strength, so if you're cranking the heck out of it before, back your strength off a little bit with that, because you will get a bit more torque on it. And Adam, when you're watching this later, if you think I'm incorrect in what I'm saying, please comment below and let us know. But that's my thoughts. I'm not the engineer, but I would think that there'd be a bit more torque. So just be careful. Last thing I want to see you do is strip any parts of your guitar. But it's a great investment for sure. If
I could just add, I agree with you. A lot of people, I like to buy used gear when I can, when there's something cool. I've found when you look at these pads that you've just got these divots on the bottom of them for people just giving it the death. Really, you just got to make it snug. That's all you got to do. They're not going to loosen up. I figured I'd throw that in to help out.
No, that's a very good point. Thanks for adding that.
Other than that, like I said, you and I talked about upgrades. I considered the possibility of putting a detune on. If EVH is listening, now would be the time to do the black chrome.
That'd be great. That'd be a good one. I know I'd love that, because I think we're both caught between a rock and a hard place. Do we order black or do we order chrome? And I think the black is too flat, like as far as the black chrome here. So I think our only option is a chrome. In this particular case, a chrome one for each of ours.
And I don't really think you could go wrong with either of them. I think I'm probably going to go with a chrome one if I buy one. Right now, I'm just getting a feel for the guitar, and it's very comfortable. It's friendly to play. That's something else I could think of to add to it. Mm-hmm. I think they pulled it out of the box and handed it to me literally.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't feel any sharp edges with the frets. I'm just kind of trying to think of anything. Again, when you and I talked last week about it, I really couldn't find any flaws with it.
I know, and we're expecting to, and that's really nice. And I've heard that before too with some of the cheaper model guitars of this brand and any other brands. Like we've heard some people say, well, some of the frets were protruding a little bit, from climate changes and things like that. Obviously, that can happen. You and I both didn't experience that, which was nice. And mine pulling this one out of the box, all I did was adjust the truss rod a little bit. The quarter of a turn, I brought a little straighter, got the action down without having to touch just about anything else. I mean, I didn't reef that either, just a little creak. And it was playing within minutes and just like, I did one other thing I did do. I'm glad I thought of this. The springs in the back. I pulled one spring out and I did my traditional, the V shape on there, and just with 2 springs. I found that the tension was very tough to start, but I mean that's a good thing. I think that's for maybe people that have never played the guitar before. They wouldn't even know having the 3 springs. I've got it down to 2, and you can do the real nice, really bouncy, tremolo stuff with it. And I did do that. That was a small customization as well. I
have not done that. In fact, I still have, in case anybody from EVH themselves, in case the inspector is looking, I do have your tag left just for this video. I don't know who that might be, but I have the cavities. I generally, every guitar I get, I want to see, the innards. I want to see how they, if they did a sloppy job on the soldering or, anything. It's just, at some point I'll take the neck off just to look underneath it to see the stamp. Those are little things that I geek on. I don't know why. Oh,
I know. I always like this. That's how I learned everything with computers and everything else, is take it apart and see how it ticks.
Right. I mean, I wouldn't do that with a pickup, of course, but still, I would say, you and I discussed this. What might be interesting is it's now March, 30th today?
31st today, I think.
31st.
Yeah.
So maybe in a year from now, it would be interesting to see what we still say about this guitar and what upgrades we might have changed and why. I probably will remove a spring like you talked about. In my experience, I started running into noisy springs. So that's something I'll probably upgrade to from FU, as well as like the brass block. My Kramer back here, I think that's the guitar I did it with, has got the L-shaped brass block.
Yeah,
I like it. The only problem is that if you've got a loose bar, you got to take it all apart to do it. But if you're one of those guys that likes the bar stiff instead of floppy, you can't go wrong with it.
Yeah, I like mine free floating all the time. I grab it when I need it and then get it out of the way.
I think the guitar shop that I go to, well, one of the guitar shops that I go to, Josh Thompson's shop in Pekin, Illinois, he kept telling me, he's like, you don't want that Eddie Van Halen floppy tremolo. He's like, it'll drive you crazy after a while. He's like, keep it somewhat tight. I tried the floppiness, and it's not for me, but the stiff, this one's not too bad. I mean, I could probably make it a little different.
Yeah, you can get it kind of in one spot and it'll stay. Like that. That's not too bad there. I do particularly like to get it like that because it's not. Sometimes it's in my way, but I mean, everyone's got their own thing, right? It's a preference.
One thing you haven't done with yours is you should hold it up closer. I still haven't gotten to really get a good look at that top. Could you move it?
How's that there? I'm sorry, right about there.
I think I was drawn more to that color than this one. Not that I'm complaining. I'm very blue, but a lot of people know that I've had like red guitars in the past and whatnot, and I just thought, wow, it'd be cool to have more blue in the lineup. I mean, I've got that Fender swirl, but yeah, I'm very happy with mine.
Me too. I think what drew me to this one as well too. I mean, it is my son's guitar, and I'm not sure if I said this already, but I know I've told you I'm ordering another one myself because I like it so much. I don't want to keep asking to borrow his, and I also want to have one of my own as well too.
Eric, you should tell the story of how you wound up with that guitar.
I will. Actually, yeah. We ordered the Ferrari Red, and that's one he picked out himself. It was for his 10th birthday, which was on March 9th. And so we ordered Ferrari Red, got the box here. We're watching, tracking the whole time. Got here. Box is labeled Ferrari Red. And he was in school. I got home early that day. So he's out of school around 3 o'clock. So it's 2 o'clock. The package arrives. FedEx is here. I took a picture and put it on Facebook that day. And really excited to get this out of the box, get his guitar hook hung up on his wall so I could put the guitar on the wall, pull out the guitar out of the box, and lo and behold, it was purple, transparent purple. So I called my rep right away, and I was actually calling mobile from the car because I forget where I was going to get something. And he says, "Oh, let me guess, wrong color." And I said, "How'd you know?" I guess they had a few that left that way. It was a mislabeling thing between Indonesia and North America, just one number wrong on a part number or something. So there was a few that went out. So he actually lucked out because it's a better quality guitar with the top that it has on it, and it's a little bit more of an expensive retail price upgrade too. So totally lucked out. And they wanted to do whatever they could to make it good for us. And I said, "Listen, we're more than happy." At first, he was bummed because he wanted the red one. And I said, "No, let's have a look and compare the two." And I'm not knocking the red, but when you look at these ones with the transparent tops, there's night and day difference.
Well, it kind of has a more like you. I love gloss colored guitars, but
yeah,
these just have an even classier look, in my opinion. That's just me.
Yeah. Well, what drew me to the purple was the PV, the American PV Wolfgang Standard I had. It was a transparent purple flame. And I think I made a comment on Facebook about that today. You guys were talking about was it you talking about the PVs?
I brought up a situation with the flame tops.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And I commented on that very briefly, just saying that I had a nice one on the PV. And so I ended up getting rid of that guitar, and I really regret it. A good friend owns it now, so I know it's being loved and cared for. And the only reason why he bought it, he had a Purple Music Man, and he wanted a little sister for it, so that's why he bought it. But I missed that guitar, so that's why it drew me to this one. And I think what my comment was today on the PV was most of their flames, as much as they're nice in person, you have to see those guitars in person as opposed to a picture. The flames don't do them justice, and I don't think they're the best flames in the world by any means on the PVs. They're good, but you need to see them. It's almost like when you have a buddy come over and say, "Okay, let's go outside in the bright daylight. I'll hold it at 45 degrees with the wind blowing to the left, and we'll see the flame." That's how you gotta appreciate those ones, I think.
I think that's really my complaint. I had a purple Wolfgang Special when he was making it, and it looked cool, but the top on it was just kind of bland.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't sound bad. Truth be told, though, in my time, I've had 4 Wolfgangs from PV. I had what would they call it? Cosmic Purple.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first one I had. I bought it used. It was okay. Then I got myself a cream-colored Wolfgang. That was it was a special, and that was the best one. I'll talk about that in a minute. I found that purple flame top special, grabbed that, and then my last Wolfgang I had owned was a black regular Wolfgang. It had a beautiful flame top. It could pass as like the brother of your guitar.
Oh, cool.
But of all the Wolfgangs I've had from PV, the one that I always came back to was that cream-colored special. And my brother owned it for a little while, and then he and I worked out a trade to get it back. And now my sister in New York has it. That guitar, I bought it in Pennsylvania. It's been to Texas, back to Illinois, and now it's in New York.
That's fantastic. It's traveled a lot.
And I did a few upgrades to it. I gave it an FU block. I put perloy buttons on the tuners, and then I gave it one of the MXR knobs, and then I gave it the Van Halen strap with the dog snaps. And again, the coolest thing about that guitar, out of all the guitars I ever had, I'll point on this Wolfgang to give you an idea. Right about here, there was this really neat swirly burl on it. I could show you a picture of it later. Mm-hmm. If you want to drop it in for the video for everybody to see, that's fine. And I think I owned that guitar for probably close to 12 years. And then
that's a good life for sure.
Yeah, and it's still in the family.
Nice.
As far as it goes, though, I wanted to get away from the PV stuff for a while and try some other things out. And I was still waiting to see what people were saying about the EVH line. And I heard some good and I heard some bad, mostly good. But when they came out with the standard model, again, the price point was there. They first came out with the 3 colors, the gray and the black translucent ones. It was black, red, and then the gloss black.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked those 3, but it still wasn't a color that I was just like bowled over.
Sold on, yeah.
Yeah. And so when this year's NOM show hit, boom, you know, they had the purple, they had the blue, they had the Ferrari red. I really wanted to see Mystic Blue. I'm curious to see what that looks like in the lights. No offense to EVH, I wish they'd had better lighting because it was hard to tell the flame tops and the colors.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like that old dress. Is it you know, the dress scenario? What color is it? Right? You never know.
Right, but again, here we are. You've got a purple one. I've got a blue one.
I'm definitely going to be an advocate for this guitar, for this line especially. Like, obviously, I'm an advocate for the EVH line in general, being an artist on the roster. But this thing, I'm going to push until the cows come home because it's a great guitar for the money. You can buy a bunch of them. Yeah, I mean, the average working musician can buy a bunch of these, but you know, and not break the bank. But someone that wants to buy their first one, buy one of these, you know, and keep it. It's a great guitar. I mean, it's not going to be a collector's item by any means. I don't think, but it's a great guitar for the money.
Well, I would think that, you know, in the years to come, this will probably be a staple in the EVH line.
I think so.
Easily.
Yeah.
In fact, it wouldn't surprise me to see a lot of these get pumped out. Not in a bad way, in a great way.
Yeah.
I would say this could be the next. I think, you know, you're from the '80s as well as I do.
Oh yeah.
The '80s, we saw tons of strikers and focus Kramers. You know, this could be the next.
Yeah,
you know,
it's possible. I feel very at home playing all my '80s kind of riffs. Like a lot of the stuff I wrote for my old bands were the '80s inspired stuff, and it feels very comfortable, just like those comfortable shoes, whatever. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah. Well, before we wrap up here, Josh, we're going to go here in a few moments, but I know you're plugged in there. Why don't you give us a little bit of tell us what you obviously we know what you're using for a guitar. What are you using for an amplifier back there? And just give us a little sound if you can.
Sure. I'm using I always forget the name of it. I got this, I traded it for a Boss delay pedal. I got myself a Crate 2x12 GFX 212T. It's a 120 watt amp. I don't need that much power, but
sure.
When you get a great trade and on top of it, it's got a tuner built in on the top, you can't beat it.
Nope.
And I've heard several people do great Van Halen riffs on it. So I was like, you know, for a delay pedal, it's a steal. You know, what can I show you? Let's see. You know, you get that Van Halen tone.
Yeah, and what's really cool too is I can hear your microphone of the acoustic guitar while you're playing. And what's really neat is these guitars do have a nice tone to them acoustically, and we've always said that if a guitar sounds good before you have to plug it in, then you have potentially a good guitar. That sounds good.
Absolutely. In fact, one of the riffs I just about always pick up and play on a guitar is the old Aerosmith song "Seasons of Wither," you know, and really this sounds great on it. You get the idea, you know.
Yeah, for sure. No, it does sound good. It sounds good.
Just
very nice.
All around, just picking it up. I mean, you were blowing out some riffs there a moment ago.
Yeah, I'm plugged into. I'm not sure if you can see behind. I've my staple amp back there, the EVH 5150, the 100 watts, 5150 300 watt half stack. I've got several effects running through there. You can see my setup on my channel, how I run my pedals and stuff like that. Some through the loop, some through the front. I'm running right now as a staple. I'm running the Boss DD3. Running two of those through the loop, but right now I've just got a slow delay on it. Actually, a quick delay. Sorry. Using the NS2 noise suppressor to take away some of the hiss. I'm using a BBE Sonic Maximizer that is on all the time. I might as well take the switch off that, just leave it on all the time. What else have I got? Right now I'm not using the phaser or the flanger or the wah pedal. It's just turned off. But I am using the Boss RV5 reverb, and I've got a decent reverb on there. And I'll just try a little riff here too. I'm on the red channel as well. I like that amp. I like that amp a lot. Yeah, it works well. And it works nice with this guitar. And as you can see back there, the little guy, it's little brother or sister back there, that was just sent to me yesterday from my sponsor, Jeff, at Van Halen News Desk at vanhalenstore.com. I'm going to be doing a really fun video on that one. There's a million reviews out there already, but I'm going to put a creative spin on it because I'm a photographer and videographer, so I want to have some fun with that. That's coming right away as well, too. And I'm getting the lunchbox next week, too, so I'll be doing a video with probably this guitar again on that amp. So looking forward to it. But I'm glad I got to hear your guitar there. It's nice to hear it both acoustically and plugged in, and it was awesome.
Real quick, the lunchbox was definitely a tool to sell me on this guitar. When I plugged into the red version of this guitar at my local shop, it was into a lunchbox, and it killed through that lunchbox.
Fantastic. Well, that's good to hear. I mean, it's nice to see that one sells the other.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Fantastic.
In fact, I would love to get one of the lunch boxes down the road, or possibly even upgrade to the 50 watt. 120 watts, too much head for me.
Yeah. Well, listen, I want to thank you again for joining me today. And before I let you go, I just want to say thanks to several people here that continue to make this happen. Jeff at Van Halen News Desk, vanhalenstore.com. Thank you for continuing to support my channel. Also, please go visit fu-tone.com. Tell Adam Reaver that we sent you, and go see what he's got for your guitars, and he'll work with you to find something that works for your particular instrument, whether it's Ibanez, EVH Gear, PV, you name it, Jackson, whatever you got. Tell him what you got, Fender. He'll hook you up and stuff like that. We'll talk to you real soon, guys. And Josh, thanks for joining me. And until next time, cheers.
Thanks, Eric.